I'm Jose Hernandez, and I decided to become a videographer, and it's been a lot harder than what it looks. So hi, I'm Jose Hernandez. If you're on my channel, then you kind of know who I am. I am a late bloomer videographer. I decided to take on videography about 5 years ago, and there's a bunch of stuff out there that I wish I would have known before I even started. I just kind of wanted to outline this based on somebody who is just a total beginner like me, who, starting from the beginning till now, what are the lessons that I've learned and some of the stuff that I wish I would have learned a little sooner. And if you're just getting started out, this would be a really cool video for things that you should actually look out for, and to maybe give you a little encouragement to keep going. So yeah, let's get into it. So one of the hardest things you're going to find when you first start is actually finding clients. That was the first reality check that I actually ran into. Finding clients is what's going to help you kind of like hone in your craft and get better as a videographer. But at the very beginning, at least for me, it was damn near impossible to find people to shoot. Like I've tried telling people and no one was really interested. So what I had to do was force myself to pick up my camera, even my cell phone at times, and it was just shoot everything that I could as far as like what I had going on around me. So like, for example, I was, I owned a small business, so I was shooting the small business, just like advertising for YouTube, best I could do, Instagram reels and stuff like that. My first interview was actually my wife. I set her up on a tripod. We were talking about the business, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go all out. I got lights. I did everything I could possible to make a really good interview. It didn't come out perfect, obviously. I was using Magic Lantern at the time, so that'll tell you a lot. It's not easy. That is one of the best advice that I could give you, is shoot everything you could around you. If it's a birthday party, if it's cars, like sometimes like your buddies are into cars, like, hey, let me shoot your car. Or like my brother owned the gym, and I'm like, hey, why don't you let me do some like, some branding videos for your gym. Let me do an interview. Let me do some, branding videos for you guys. And I did a lot of that at the very beginning just to get repetitions in and kind of like just get better at like shooting. I mean, it's the only way to do it. So I know that at the beginning, you're going to be kind of like, it took me a while to get over the shyness of pulling out the camera. That shyness has to go away. And really the only way to do it is to like kind of just do it. Just pull it out. Don't care what anybody has to say, or, who cares what people think, like just be honest, just whip it out and just start using it. Some of the stuff you get is going to be useless. Some of it's going to be really good and you'll be surprised. So if I had any advice at the very, very beginning, I would probably just make sure that you're doing more of that, more of pulling out the camera, travel with your camera. Make sure you get travel videos, travel vlogs, whatever you have to do to consistently use the camera, get used to the settings, is probably one of the best things you could do at the very beginning. And when you're looking for clients, you need kind of like something to show them. This will allow you to show them something, even if it's just stuff that you stage into for yourself. That would be probably one of the first things I will start with. It's hard, and I'll be the first one to tell you, I still deal with it every day. And I don't do this full time. This is my part-time job, you could say. This is the career I want to get into long-term. But again, it comes down to repetition. So I'm constantly seeking customers, seeking clients, because they're hard to come by. You have to really put yourself out there. You're competing against people that do this for a living full time. You're competing against people that have been doing it for years, and here you are trying to jump in the ring with them. So it's going to be difficult to kind of break in. So you got to kind of like make your own lane. And that's kind of what I've been doing. I just make my own lane, and I've never even once met another videographer. I've met like on the job or on the fly. It's always been me just kind of like doing my own thing and just putting these projects together as best I could. Get over the shyness of pulling out your camera and, try to talk to people and tell them, hey, I'm trying to be a videographer. I'm becoming a videographer. I'm trying to shoot video. And the more you do that, the better you will be at getting clients and getting people to actually work with you. So once I told like my inner circle, like, hey, I'm shooting videos. Can you help me out? Let me just shoot your whatever. It really kind of started opening up opportunities for me to shoot stuff, you know? So that would be probably the number one thing that I would, not number, I shouldn't say the number one thing. It's probably one of the things that I would definitely focus on if you're just starting out. Another thing that I noticed is that I was shooting for free and I wasn't getting anything back from the videos. A lot of people, just because you're shooting for free does not mean that they don't expect professionalism, that they don't expect a product that's worth something to them. So keep that in mind, that this is an exchange. You have to get something in return. So for me, for example, my wife put out an ad on Facebook Marketplace, basically that I was shooting weddings for free, you know, and I shot a wedding for free. But I knew that I was shooting the wedding because I wanted a wedding for my portfolio, and it was something that I was actually going to use. I still went all out. I did the best job I could possible. I made sure that I set deadlines for myself to to have the product back to them. I did a lot in order to make sure that it felt like an actual job, even though it wasn't. It wasn't a paying job, I should say. But what I got out of it was some experience shooting with weddings. It was a small one, so it was perfect for me just starting out. And, I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to shoot these people's moments. But more than that, I really just wanted the exchange of having the actual wedding in my portfolio. Was it perfect? No, absolutely not. It was the first time out. But it was, they were happy with it. The girl, the bride was crying when she seen it. So it really made me feel good that I did a good job for them. So just keep that in mind. Like, so when you're working with people and you're working with them for free, especially at the beginning, you're going to do a lot of it. I feel like, I do more of it than I want to, or I did more of it than I wanted to. Treat yourself like a full professional, like you would if you were going to a paid job. Make sure you get something out of it. So if you're shooting a small business, and you want to shoot an interview and you haven't done it in a while, let's shoot an interview. So just say, hey, I'll do this, but can we shoot an interview too? Not only would it help complete the product or complete the actual project, but it will actually help you with your skills, with your interview skills, with whatever you're working on at the time. It could be that you want to test out some lenses. It could be that just make sure you're getting something in return, because it's free is not for free. Like, they're expecting something in return that is valuable, whether you're doing it for free or not. And that's something that it took a mindset shift for me to figure that out. I did a bunch of projects for people where they were just really demanding, and I'm like, man, like, I'm doing this for free. But then I realized this is what people expect, even if it's free. So, keep that in mind. And yeah, make sure you get something in return. Another thing is, don't get caught up in gear. Now, I do review gear here on this channel. I like to review it because I like gear, but don't get caught up in it. At the end of the day, just because you have a $10,000 setup does not make your videos any better. It's taken me years to figure this out, that it's really it's your skills that you have to work on, not so much the tools. A hammer that hammers in a nail, it doesn't have to be expensive. You could buy one at Harbor and Freight and it still does the job. You know what I mean? And you got to kind of look at these things as tools. So just make sure you have the proper tools for the job, but you're not overspending and killing your budget. And, a lot of us starting out, we're not really willing to invest a ton of money into this. We're not production companies. We're just guys with dreams trying to change their careers like I was, or trying to satisfy an itch for creativity, which is also where I was. I'm a very creative person, and this just happens to be a medium that I wanted to work with. But yeah, I mean, I would say the gear to a minimum. A good modern camera is fine, a light, make sure you got some good mics, and that's pretty much all you really need to do most of the work you need to. And then one thing I just discovered is renting. So just rent if you need to rent. Rent a camera if you have to rent a camera. Make sure you have some good lenses, make sure you have a camera, and that's it. That's basically it. Do not get caught up in the whole gear thing. It's a waste of money. And when you're doing this at the beginning, it's just the only thing driving it is passion. So that money that you have to put out, could become a nuisance, for you and your family. So just, make sure that you watch out for that. Don't get caught up in it, okay? The long game. That's probably my last piece of advice. Be patient. You got to be in this for the long haul. It takes a long time to build a portfolio. It takes a long time to get a nice demo reel. It takes a long time to get clients. I'm in a small market, so, it's not like there's clients, begging for me to work for them. So stay active, stay patient, and, don't quit. At the end of the day, if this is what you really want to do, it's worth it, if you ask me. And I hope this maybe makes it to somebody who needs some encouragement, or maybe needs a little bit of direction. If this was good, if this was a good one, a good video, whatever, let me know down at the comments if it reached you. And keep shooting, don't forget, and stay patient. And I'm out. Peace.